All right, how you doing? We're going to work on some examples of unit rate. Did the notes already. You know that unit rate is a ratio comparing two different units, and the one of the units is to one per unit. So here we have an example. The bakers at Healthy Bakery can make 310 bagels in 10 hours. How many bagels can they bake in 23 hours? What was the rate per hour? So we have some key pieces here. So I'm going to go ahead and do some annotations. So here we have this is bagels in 10 hours. That is our initial rate ratio. So we have 310 bagels, and they are making those 310 bagels in 10 hours. So here's my ratio, 310 bagels to 10 in 10 hours, or per 10 hours. And it wants to know how many they can make in 23 hours. We can do this several different ways. We can set up a proportion, which we haven't gotten to yet. This is going to lead us into our proportions. But we can figure out what our rate per hour is. So that would be our unit rate. And of course, we know that our unit rate is set to where value is 1. And in the notes, all we did was we divided the numerator by the denominator. So if we do that, 310 divided by 10 is going to give us 31 bagels per hour. Thirty-one bagels per hour. And I don't need to put the 1 in front of that hour because it's implied as a unit rate that it's 1 hour. So here we have our unit rate. They can make 31 bagels in 1 hour. So now the next part of the question wants to know how many can they make in 23 hours. So if this is 1 hour, this 31 bagels per hour is our unit rate, then we're simply going to take our unit rate. We're going to multiply it by our time, and we'll get our total that we're looking for. Let me color code these for you guys. So our unit rate is 31 bagels per hour. And I can rewrite this as a fraction because that's actually what it is. And I'm going to put the number in here for now. So per 1 hour. And I'm going to multiply this unit rate times 23 hours. I want to make this a fraction, so it's a fraction times a fraction to make this real easy. We know that we can put anything over the value of 1. So that doesn't change the value. It's still 23 hours. However, I've got a nice little fraction here, and I know that my hours divided by hours are going to cancel out. So that's how I'm going to end up with strictly bagels, because my hours actually canceled out through division. So now I have to calculate 31 times 23, and that gives us a total of 713 bagels is what was made. So this is a very typical problem that you might see on the EOG. It's very possible that this is the kind of problem you might see as a constructive response. It may or may not be calculator active. It's kind of borderline for that. Again, we take our rate, 310 bagels in 10 hours. We divide that, that's what it's telling us, 310 bagels divided by 10 hours gives us 31 bagels per hour. We multiply our unit rate times 23 hours, and we end up with 713 bagels. Not too bad. So that's how we can apply these unit rates to find out how much can be made in a specific time. And again, very typical kind of question you may see on the end grade testing. All right, next one. Jet travels 570 miles in 5 hours. At this rate, how far could the jet fly in 10 hours? What is the rate of speed of the jet? So again, we're going to go in and we're going to annotate. So I've got my time in hours. The jet is flying, so that would be distance. Here. That's going to be measured in miles. So we first need to set our ratio up. So we have 570 miles, and it travels those 570 miles in 5 hours. We want to know the unit rate. So we're going to divide 570 by 5. And we will end up with use my fancy calculator. 114 miles per hour is the speed that that jet is flying. So 114 miles per hour is my unit rate. I want to know how far it can fly in 10 hours. So I'm going to multiply it by time. So 114 miles per hour times 10 hours. That is going to give me a very nice number of 1,140 miles. 1,140 miles is how far it will travel in 10 hours. Solve the problem, find the ratio, miles per hour. I divide it, the numerator by the denominator to find the unit rate, so I have it for 1 hour. And then I multiply my unit rate times how long it travels at that unit rate to get my miles. All right, next example. Again, these are going to be very typical of what you'll see. Again, it's important that you understand how to calculate unit rate and then how to compare them, because the EOG loves to do these kind of questions for this section of the math knowledge. So you can buy 5 cans of green beans at the village market. You can get 5 cans for $3.80, or we can get, I can't see that, or we can get 10 cans at Sam's Club for $5.70. We need to know which one is the best price. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set up our ratios. We're going to figure out which one has the better unit rate. And then compare the two. So our 5 cans cost us $3.80. Well, here we have a situation that I discussed in the notes. I've already done the opposite of what I told you in the notes. Generally, when we deal with money problems like this, our money is going to be in the top part of the ratio. It's going to be dollars per whatever item unit we're measuring. So we need to make sure that it's the same on either side of our comparison. So if my money is in the top on one side, I have to do the money on the other. So $5.70. And we are simply going to calculate the unit rates by dividing. So $3.80 divided by 5 gives me 76 cents per can. Make sure I did that right. All right, this one is going to be 0.76 cents per can. So that's the village market. And if we divide $5.70 by 10, we end up with 0.57 cents per can for Sam's Club. So we can compare it. Whichever one has the smallest rate per can is going to be the best buy. So the best buy for this situation is our good old Sam's Club. They have the smaller value per can. All right, so now we have another one. Gas mileage is the number of miles you can drive on a gallon of gasoline. All of you who want to drive is going to have to know how to do these kind of factors and find out which gas has the best mileage, which price is better. If you're going to drive all the way across town to get some gas, how much are you actually saving? So this is a real world situation that you may actually be doing in the very near future. So a test of a new car results in 520 miles on 20 gallons of gas. So we went 520 miles on 20 gallons. Now wants to know how far could you drive on 60 5 gallons of gas. And what is the car's gas mileage? So we're first going to set up our ratio. Miles per gallon. So 520 miles. We're going to put this over our 20 gallons. So to do that, we're going to divide. And we're going to end up with our unit rate. So 520 divided by 20 plus 26 miles per gallon is our unit rate. To find out how far we went, we're going to multiply our unit rate times the amount of gallons we've used in. So we went 26 miles per gallon times 65 gallons. And that is going to give us 1,690 miles. So you can get from here to, oh, I don't know, maybe that's Lincoln, Nebraska almost. So you can get pretty good ways. So, yeah, find the rate ratio, divide that like it tells you, 520 divided by 20 gives us our unit rate. Our unit rate times the value that we're using to find the amount. All right, here's another comparison. So we're going to do our 3 apples for $1.32 versus 5 apples for $2.30. And we need to see which is cheapest. So we're going to find our ratios and then calculate our unit rates. Apples goes $1.32. Remember, our money goes on top. And then the other side, what we're comparing is $2.30. 5 apples. $1.32 divided by 3 gives us 0.44 per apple. $2.30 divided by 5 is 0.06 per apple. And this time we have 44 cents per apple is our cheapest rate. So that's another comparison. The smaller the unit rate, the less it costs. And because you're watching the video and I want to make sure you're paying attention, here's the password. Yes, this was me when I was in high school. I had a mohawk. That's the password. Ice cream factory, 350 quarts of ice cream in 2 hours. Here's another one where we're going to find the ratio. Use that to calculate the unit rate. And then once we have that, we're going to multiply by time. I'm not going to do all the fancy coloring and all. So 350 quarts of ice cream. And they do that in 2 hours. Our unit rate, 350 divided by 2 is 150 quarts per hour. We're going to multiply that by 12, hours. 150 times 12 is 1,800 quarts of ice cream made. And this last one is exactly the same situation. 50 over 15. Find our unit rate. Which is 33.33 repeating people per hour. We multiply that by 5, and we get 16. 50 people divided by 15 minutes. Oh, this is another tricky one. I even made the mistake. I do this all the time on this problem. Here's the issue. We have minutes, and over here we have hours. So we're going to calculate the minutes into a fraction of an hour. So we're going to end up with 50 people per 0.25 hours. I got that because there's 15 over 60, because there's 60 minutes in an hour, and that gives me 1/4 of 0.25. So my unit rate is going to be 50 divided by 0.25, gives me 200 people per hour. Now, 200 times 5 gives me 1,000 people. All right, that's the end of our notes. Don't forget to type in the password for this assignment so you can get credit for it. I hope this helps you when we start doing unit rate problems. Until then, I will see you online.